So, good morning. When I was 9, my parents ruined my life. Yeah, they moved us to Florida, and they insisted that I go with them. I did not want to go to Florida for a short vacation, but not for the rest of my life. I was just about to begin playing Little League hockey, and every winter we lived over, and I know some of you know where this was, Schoolcraft Boulevard or Schoolcraft Avenue, maybe right by the Rouge River, maybe a half a mile from Telegraph Road, inside the city, extreme west side of Detroit. And my dad would flood the backyard, and the next morning we could go ice skating. And I had all the kids in the neighborhood came to my house. We played hockey. And my dad was a Little League hockey coach. My grandfather was the superintendent of parks and recreation in Detroit and had built the very first hockey rinks and skating rinks. They were building up the whole Little League experience for kids. And then the next thing I know, here we are in Lake Worth, Florida, and you could flood the backyard in Lake Worth, Florida, and the next morning it wasn't ice. You might have an alligator out there. You might have a lot of cockroaches, those big palmetto bugs that fly around and are just disgusting things, but they're all over the place. And so I didn't like it at all. My mother used to take us kids in her old Ford Falcon down to Lantana Beach, and she'd sit right at the water's edge, and the ocean would be lapping at her feet and would rush up her, and my brother and sister would be playing. They were like 2 and 3, and everyone was so happy. My mother would lean her head back and she'd go, this is the good life. This is the good life. And for me, it was anything but the good life. I had sand in my pants and stickers when you walk through the stickers as you walk through empty lots, and it was not my idea of fun being at the ocean. It was not the good life for me. For my mother, it was, and for many, many people in my family, it's the good life. It was not my idea of the good life. So what is the good life? What is the good life? Defining the good life is not as easy as it sounds. It means different things to different people. Going to the beach was not my idea of the good life. I didn't like sunburn. I did on my face and sand in my pants and tar on my feet from the ocean. It wasn't my idea of a good time. Different content for different people. Different strokes for different folks. The good life is more of a feeling or a state of mind. One reason that the good life is incapable of definition is suggested by Andy Warhol, who said, "I'm a deeply superficial person," he once quipped. The good life is a state of consciousness, and as such it is very deep. And any attempt to quantify it will fail for its superficiality. Supreme Court Justice Wizard White entertained and amused generations of attorneys, law students, and pornographers when he wrote, I cannot define pornography, but I know it when I see it. And the good life is like that too. Jesus, I say to you, Yeshua of Nazareth, was pointing to the good life when he referred to the kingdom of heaven. He says, I am come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. I am come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. And he often said to his disciples, and as you go around preaching, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. To him, it wasn't a place that you died and went to afterwards. It's not about to happen. It's right here. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's right here and right now. It wasn't, he didn't say, I've come to teach you how to be good so you can go to heaven when you die. Never said that. He said it's right here and right now. He brought us the good news so that we could have a great life and live it abundantly. The good life. Some characteristics of the good life. There are at least 7 characteristics which characterize the good life in general, and we're going to take a few of those and look at them today. We'll look at more of them next week. And balancing these characteristics, I think, is a key to the good life. And it's important, I think, to pay attention to each of these key factors each and every week, or at least on a regular basis, since it's so easy to get lost in one or two of them, and most of us do get lost in one or two of them. We get lost in our work, many of us. We get lost in our charities, our sororities, our social clubs. We get lost in the lives of our children. Some of us even get lost in church. Catherine Ponder, the author of The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, talked to a woman who was a great healer who, as she looked around her threadbare apartment, said, "I wish I had spent more time praying for prosperity." She was so great in many aspects, but when it came to her own prosperity, she didn't pay much attention to it. Balancing and balance in our lives is the key. Honoring all the important aspects of our lives. Jesus counsels for balance when he says, "Take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things which he possesses." Take heed means be conscious of what you're doing with your life. Why is balance so important? Why is balance something like a priority that we want to be looking at all the time? Well, I know one man who used to make, let's say, Bob, I once heard Bob was making upwards of $6 million per year, which is a pretty good living. He one time was overheard at a cocktail party saying, "My one regret is that I don't know my kids. My one regret is that I don't know my kids." Is that the good life? Is that prosperity? Is that abundance? Don't think so. I don't think so at all. He had lots of money, but he didn't have a life. Not the good life. A friend of mine coached Little League and was always at Little League games and always with his children. He had lots of friends. He did lots of community service. And they settled for very little financially. They never had money for vacations or for new clothes and for the things even though they desired these things. And they complained about not having them. Well, is that the good life? I don't think so. Yeah, he's a good dad, a good family man, a good community giver. But I'm not so sure that it was that was the good life either. I used to coach my kids' Little League teams, and I'd have to go outside the field to light a cigarette. I smoked 3 packs a day back in those days, and I never exercised. Is that the good life? No. I was a good dad. I was making some decent money. That wasn't the good life either. So we have to pay attention to all of it. And so I want to ask, are you paying attention to the 7 important spokes in the wheel of life? And I have them here. I guess we're going backwards, aren't we? Yeah, here they are. Finances and career, education, relationships, health, fun, your community relationships, and your spiritual growth. Those, I think, are 7 enormous spokes in the wheel of life. If you're going to be leading the good life, you want to have all these kind of working together. Maybe some more than others, but you're paying attention to them. So career and finances. Does your job get you out of bed on Monday mornings? Excited to be going to work? Or are you living like many people, just getting through it? Living for the weekend. What was that song, Living for Saturday? There's been a couple songs about, living for the weekend. Henry David Thoreau said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation." The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Leading a life that you don't really want to live. You're just trying to get through it. I was one of those men in that mass of quiet desperation for a number of years. Are you giving up to 8 to 10 hours of your life each day in a wasteland of a job? You deserve a career that turns you on, or a job that turns you on. Is there a dream you had that you've set aside? Look to God for your deliverance and ask that divine loving presence within you for a miracle. Then be open to divine guidance. Use that heart chakra meditation which we just did before here. Use that heart chakra meditation. Go in and ask, what would divine love have me do with my day? What would divine love have me do with my career? Ask every day and be open every day. It took me years to be able to do that and to listen to God's whisper, that still small voice within me, that still small voice of spirit. But I was so happy I did, eventually. Are you tending to your money? We can say that money doesn't matter all we want to, but tell that to the landlord when you want to move in. Or tell that to the guy who sells you your groceries. Or tell that to your doctor. Money's a good thing. It's the love of money, and this is the mistake we sometimes make. We say money's the root of all evil is money. It's the love of money. It's the neediness for money, which is the root of all evil. Not money in itself. Money is nothing but energy. It's just energy. It's just a symbol. It's a symbol of your energy, of ideas and work. Take your money in your hands on occasion, like this. Take your money in your hands and say, thank you, God, for this money. I love money, dear Lord, and I love you. Thank you so much for my money. I so appreciate my money. You actually hold it over your heart chakra and bless it. Thank you, God, for my money. I'm so grateful for money. Because we have in our culture a contrary vibration about money. If you look at it. How many know when I say vibration, Abraham Hicks talks a lot about vibrational frequency. And so you can say, I want money, I need more money, all you want to. And if you don't believe that money's a good thing, or that only only rascals have a lot of money, like I did as a young man, I was brought up to believe that only the bad people have a lot of money. But I want more money, well, but I don't want to be bad. So you have contrary vibrations going on, contrary belief systems going on. And it's a struggle for many of us. Many of us have that struggle. Do your prayer work about your money regularly. Like when I say regularly, I'm ideally every day. A dear friend of mine was a high-powered professional woman who made a great salary from the company that she co-founded back in the 1970s. She was making $250,000 a year in her 20s, in the 70s. She wrote me this note. She said, John, I thought it would always last. Life was going along well. We were filling orders. I was traveling the world training associates and making fabulous money. 250 grand in 1975, yeah, that's fabulous money. It is now, too. She said, I was taking great vacations in the south of France, in the Far East, eating in fabulous restaurants every night. I was going to Broadway shows. I went to the Super Bowl, the World Series. It was a marvelous lifestyle. I thought it would last forever. Then new competitors entered our market. There was a downturn in our business. My partners got into a feud. Our business fell apart. I've now learned that prosperity work is a daily ritual now, like a shower. Just like a shower, she wrote. I don't take anything for granted now. I'm grateful for all that I receive, and I give as much as I can to what I'm doing in life. And she does the prosperity consciousness work every day. We simply cannot afford to take a day off from our prosperity work. Do you know when it is the hardest time for me to pray? The very hardest time for me to pray, you know what that is? When things are going well. When things are going well, when the money's coming in, hey, life is just a bowl of cherries. It's just wonderful. Things are going great. Well, I forget to pray then. And then when my bank account hits rock bottom, I go, oh, darn. Back to japa manifestation meditation. How many of you know what I'm talking about when I say japa manifestation meditation? Very powerful stuff. I'll be teaching a class in that. Wayne Dyer taught that and taught it to me, made a huge difference in my financial life and in my business many years ago. And things are going fine, I totally forget to do it. And now that I've created a new business in real estate, I'm doing it every day. Because I'm starting from scratch in something. Starting from ground zero, it's time to get that japa ramped up, you know. And it starts by feeling better about the whole process. And then it moves from feeling better about the process to actually starting to see manifestation results. And I'm looking forward to that. Second thing to be aware of is education. Education. After your finances and career, education. Improve yourself constantly. Constantly improving yourself. Life is constant flux. Don't become stagnant. You may have career goals. What are you doing to manifest them? Is there a book to read that will help you? Is there a course that you could be taking? I have a book by my nightstand. It's called Never Eat Alone. Never Eat Alone. I don't have the man's name. Never eat alone. And his theory is that you have to be social all the time. Don't eat by yourself. Go to lunch with somebody. Talk business. Talk about your product. Talk about their product. Talk about their life. And let them know about your life. That's an example of continuing your education. But Reverend John, I'm retired. I don't need to work on my career. You might say. A lot of people could say that. I've had people tell me that. Well, there's plenty of scientific research to indicate that an active mind that continues to learn, that continues to grow, stays young and supple, with a good memory, and is less likely to. I forget what I was going to say. See, now we need Michael Brown now. There were these three men. I love this story of these three men who went for lunch at one of their homes. And one guy said, I can't believe this. I'm getting so forgetful in my old age. I can't believe it. The other day I found myself standing in a stairwell, and I forgot whether I was going up or down. And the second guy said, yeah, I know what you mean. The other day, I was standing in the shower, and I forgot whether I had soaped up yet or not. And the third guy said, oh, you two old coots. I can't believe you old forgetful guys. He said, that'll never happen to me, knock on wood. Come in. So, somebody once said, beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art. Now, that's the thing as we get older and older to begin to appreciate becoming a work of art. The third thing, relationships. So important. Relationships with our family, relationships with our friends. Do you take time with your spouse? Do you take time with your kids? And I don't mean just quality time. Sometimes we say, those of us who don't take a lot of time with our relationships or with our kids will say, well, we have quality time. Yeah, that might not seem like so important to the kids who want quantity time. Just to be with you, just to hang out with you. It's so important. Quality time and quantity time is important. Do you pray together with a friend or with family? I have a friend another minister from down in Florida. We talk probably 3-4 times a week. We pray together for each other and for our mutual and the things that we're up to in life. Do you read from your favorite spiritual books together in your families? Do you read the Unity Daily Word is a great magazine for just once. If you do nothing else with your partner, read the Daily Word and sit together quietly, or maybe discuss it briefly. There's also the Science of Mind. Has a wonderful meditation book as well. Read from that together. Just read from. Sometimes I'll meet with Susan. Susan speaks on A Course in Miracles. She's my former wife here, and she speaks here on occasion. She'll call up and she'll say, "Do you want to have a meeting?" And she'll bring her ODAT book, the One Day at a Time book from Al-Anon. And we'll meet at McDonald's. And we'll read the ODAT book. And we'll just share a little bit. That's a wonderful thing to do with a friend. Great thing to do with your spouse, with your lover, boyfriend, girlfriend. How about your friendships? Friendships require care and cultivation. Sometimes we overlook our friends. I love this Nigerian proverb. Hold a true friend with both your hands. Boy, they're hard to find, a true friend that you relate to at the soul level, the heart level, the level of your intelligence. And we sometimes forget. We don't call them. We don't keep in touch with them. Maybe we write a Christmas card or we hit like on Facebook sometimes. But it's more to it. There's more to it. There's like lunches. Never go to lunch alone, as the book says. There's lunches, there's dinners, there's parties, there's just a phone call. Cultivate that friendship. Don't take it for granted. Many people I know tend to take friendships for granted. A wise person once said, true friendship is like sound health. True friendship is like sound health. The value of it is seldom known until it is lost. The value of it is seldom known until it's lost. And the days go by, the weeks go by, the months and the years go by. And whatever happened to that guy? That guy, I used to, who was that? It's gone. I had friends of mine who were great and committed workers for social justice and great parents, found themselves aching and missing something. They discovered that they had been overlooking an important part of the richness of life. Good friends. They had not been taking care of their relationships, and that changed for them. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Take time for each of these things. Take time for your finances and your career. And so many of us put all of our time into the top one, but also education is important, and relationships are huge. Now, we'll be talking about health, Healthy All Winter, talking about health this Wednesday night, and also next Sunday we'll be discussing health. So I want to just take a few minutes, and I guess we can probably go off camera for this. But what do you do to keep some focus or keep some balance in your life? Anybody have any thoughts or comments about it? So it's really important to have several goals in each area up here. Your finances and career, education, relationships, health, fun, community, spiritual growth. When I coach people, what I do is when we speak every week, I will ask them, how are the goals that you set for each of these 7 areas? Now, I ask my clients to have 3 goals per area, for each of these 7 areas. Not that you have to be working on each of them all the time, but that you hold them in consciousness. Okay, for fun, I really want to take a cruise this year. I want to go bike riding at least once a week, and I want to go bowling sometimes. That could be 3-year goal. We don't have to discuss those every week, but just the fact that you're aware of them and you hold them in consciousness keeps that conversation going. And it's an opportunity for you every week to be picturing yourself doing that. And what happens then? Well, it's the law of attraction. What you put in law of focus. What you focus upon tends to expand. You'll start to see opportunities to do that. I'm not a bowler, but I mean, there are people who might say, I want to go bowling or play golf once a week. Just mentioning that once a week to a coach or to a prayer partner or accountability partner will hold in your consciousness, and you'll start to see opportunities come about. Setting your financial, you might only, out of these 21 goals that you've created for yourself, you might only be working on 4 or 5 actively at any one time. But if you have a good coach or a good accountability partner, they'll bring you back, wait a second, what about the ones in the area of fun? I know many men tend to overlook the area of fun. And that's one thing that my group, the Mankind Project, we start to focus on this whole idea of having fun. And I always do that with my clients. It's very, very important to have fun in your life. Because, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy or something like that. True. Very true. So we'll be looking again at this again next week. I encourage you to take these ideas home. Take these 7 areas home, write them down, and make up 3 goals for each of these areas. And come back ready to talk more about it next week. My invitation to you. Let's go to prayer. Life that you give us, this beautiful earth, this beautiful planet with all these wonderful opportunities. Help me to be balanced. Help me to enjoy all of it, not just my little tunnel vision experience of life that I'm focusing on right this minute, but help me to remember my friends. Help me to remember family and the importance of relationships. Help me to remember my education and how I can be improving all the time. Help me to see how I can have career goals and have those become manifest. Help me to see how my spiritual growth is important and to focus on my spiritual growth each and every week to some extent. Help me to see how the fun I have is important in my life. You're giving plenty of opportunities for fun. In my health, I'm so grateful for good health. I am asking for even greater health. Thank you so much. In my participation in my community, how can I make a difference in the world? Show me the way, divine friend, divine Father, Mother God. Show me how I can make a difference in this planet. Leave this place a better place than when I found it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here with divine friends, surrounding me and blessing me. The ones I can see, the ones